Let's move on with the next definition. Corner clip. The glossary tells us to look at reinforcing gusset. Corner clip to me can mean a couple of different things, but reinforcing gusset is more specific. To me, a corner clip could certainly be something that helps hold a knockdown borrowed light together in a corner. A corner clip could also be something that you weld into the back of a header. When you've chopped it down and then you've butted the header and the jam together, you might want to weld in that corner clip. I don't know that I'd really call it a clip. But reinforcing gusset, without even looking yet, I'm thinking offset or one-side Dutch door shelf, not centered per se, even though centered would make sense. But one-sided Dutch door shelf, you're definitely going to have a reinforcing gusset in there. You for sure will. So let's switch to the screen view and let's see what SDI is talking about. If you are enjoying this video, please click thumbs up or like, and also please consider subscribing to our channel. Let's move on to the rest of the video. Okay, so here's the definition. Corner clip, reinforcing gusset. Let's just go down to reinforcing gusset and see what they come up with here. Reinforcing gusset, a flat or formed component at junction of head and jam used in interlocking of knockdown frames. May be used as an alignment feature on punch mitered frames. I've got to tell you, I'm drawing a blank on what they're driving at there. But when I think of what a reinforcing gusset is, and I'm not familiar with every manufacturer's hollow metal, and in standard construction, reinforcing gussets really aren't used. I mean, I can understand the words they use and the order in which they use them. A flat or formed component at junction of a head and jam, used in when you're interlocking the header and the jam together. So if you had a, let's use part of this actually. All right, so over here, jam, right, header. So what you can very likely see is a reinforcing gusset that's going to be like this. Dotted lines because we don't see it. And then there'll be a little tab that sticks up. So that gusset is welded to the backside or the inside of the throat of the frame. It's welded right here. And that little tab sticks up. Well, there's a slot in the header. Well, you bring those two together and you fold that tab down. That's a reinforcing gusset. So I was just looking at a manufacturer's technical manual. Let's see if I get lucky twice in a row. I don't believe I have any experience with this company, but I bumped into their tech manual looking for something on ballistic doors. DCI hollow metal on demand. So let's see what they have. Technical data manual. Technical data manual. So let's type in gusset. Yeah, exactly what I thought. There you go. So I've got a reinforcement piece back here. Field assembled jam and gusset tabs are to be bent in field after assembly. Yeah, there you go. Now, for me, back in the old days, you wouldn't see a frame that has a gusset, in the sense that the jam and the header are literally punched in the flat. So when the manufacturer, I've seen it done back in the old days at Kiwani, where the steel would be literally in the flat, meaning here's a piece of steel, and this is, you know, don't quote me, but it's 12-inch wide. And then they lay it on the bed of the CNC turret. And then the turret comes and it punches every possible hole that's necessary. And then they punch all this off, and they punch this out, and they punch this out. But part of what they leave is the tab hanging up. So there's not a gusset that's been welded in a secondary operation. It's all part of the frame because it's been punched in the flat and then put on a press brake and bent. But you can certainly understand if you're doing custom work, you don't have an ability to have tabs, That's pretty hard to cut on a die grinder. So you would have gussets that you would then weld into your jam. Let's imagine you were using jams out of stick material, but you were using stock headers that had the slots. But yeah, you'd be able to use a reinforcing gusset for that. Very much a piece that you're going to use when you're doing fabrication work. Let's also take a look at Gulfport. If anybody has reinforcing gussets in their catalog, it would be Gulfport. Product catalog. GUSS. Let's look for tab. There are lots of things called, well, Welding corner tab. That's not a gusset. And by the way, my initial understanding of corner tab, both of the definitions were wrong, obviously. Yeah, I don't see any gussets. I'm quite sure that they could make them. But those corner fillers I was talking about are basically here. That's the first thing I talked about. Weld corner tab. Our definition is corner gusset. Yeah, so a corner tab. And then I had also mentioned the reinforcing bracket for a Dutch door frame. So is it I suppose a type of gusset or a reinforcing piece? Yeah, it is. I'd call it a shelf support myself. So that's what I know about reinforcing gussets. Our next definition is going to be corner post. Oh, I can talk about those. Let's move on. Thank you for watching, and if you've enjoyed this video, please click thumbs up. Please subscribe and maybe even send the video to someone that you know. Thank you.